listen to me. I need you to lock in. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to motivate you with cute words. I came to speak life into the part of you that they left for dead. Yeah, they walked out. They said you wouldn't make it. They turned their back on you when you were at your lowest. But what they didn't know is rock bottom ain't the end. It's the beginning. You thought you were alone. You thought it was over. But let me tell you something. The moment they left, God started moving. The second they stopped supporting you, heaven started strengthening you. You didn't lose them. You lost the weight. And now you're free to rise. So don't turn this off. Don't you dare walk away, because what I'm about to say might just be the key to your comeback. This ain't just a speech. This is a warning to everything that tried to bury you. You're about to break through. They left you at the bottom, good, because when you rise this time, ain't nobody gonna be able to take credit but you and the God that carried you. You ever notice how life don't ask for your permission before it breaks you? You didn't plan to hit rock bottom. You didn't schedule betrayal, heartbreak, failure, or that moment when everything you thought was solid crumbled right under your feet. You didn't expect the people you love to walk out. You didn't expect the call that changed everything, but it came anyway. And now here you are, rock bottom, alone, confused, broken. But listen to me, rock bottom is not the end. Matter of fact, it might just be the best thing that ever happened to you. See, we live in a world that tells you that struggle is weakness, that pain is a curse. But I'm telling you, it's the opposite. Struggle sharpens you. Pain trains you. Rock bottom introduces you to the part of you that you didn't even know was there. That version of you that can't be taught in a classroom, that can't be developed through comfort. It only shows up when your back's against the wall and quitting looks like the easiest option. When you hit rock bottom, you find out who you are. You find out what you're made of. Not when you're winning, not when the checks are coming in and the love is flowing and everybody's cheering your name. No, you find your real identity when there's no audience, when there's no applause. When all you got left is you and your will to fight. I know it hurts. I know it feels like you've been forgotten, abandoned, but let me break something down for you real clear. Rock bottom ain't your prison. It's your foundation. That means it's not the place where your story ends. It's where your rise begins. It'll work. They thought it would break you. They thought you would stay down. They thought leaving you would destroy you. But what they didn't realize is when everything's taken from you, the only direction left is up. And now you've got no distractions, no dead weight, no fakeness around you, just pure unfiltered focus. This is your time now. You want to know why I respect the people who rise from nothing? Because when they get up, there's nothing fake about them. You feel their hunger. You hear their story in their voice. You see their purpose in every step. You can't manufacture that. You can't fake that kind of fire. That kind of fire is forged in pain. That kind of strength comes from nights when nobody called, days when you had to cry in silence, moments when you had to pick yourself up off the floor with tears in your eyes and say, I'm not staying here. So maybe this is exactly where you're supposed to be. Maybe rock bottom is where you stop running from your purpose and start running toward it. Maybe this is the chapter where you stop trying to prove your worth to people who never saw your value. Maybe this is the season where you let go of who you were so you can become who you called to be. Because when you rise from rock bottom, you'll rise the same. You rise wiser. You rise stronger. You rise hungry. You rise grateful. And nobody can take that from you. They can take the money. They can take the followers. They can take the opportunity. But they can't take your resilience. They can't take your character. They can't take what the fire gave you. So if you're down there right now, don't panic. Don't fold. Don't run. Dig in. Push up. Because everything you're looking for starts here. They left you. Let that sink in for a second. They said they'd be there. They said they had your back. But when things got tough, when life got real, when the storm hit, they disappeared, ghosted, gone. And you sat there asking yourself, what did I do wrong? You replayed every word, every moment, trying to figure out why they left like that, why they walked away like you were nothing, like your loyalty, your love, your sacrifices meant zero. But let me help you breathe for a second. They didn't reject you. They redirected you. It wasn't personal. It was providential. Sometimes people walk out not because you're not valuable, but because they were never designed to go the distance with you. You keep trying to bring temporary people into permanent purpose. You keep trying to drag folks into your future that were only meant for your past. Let them go. See, you were so focused on what left that you almost missed what's coming. And I need you to catch this. Not everyone who starts with you is supposed to finish with you. You keep asking why they didn't stay, but the truth is some people weren't built for your elevation. They can't breathe at the altitude you're about to rise to. The air up there is too thin for weak hearts, fake friends, and shallow loyalty. Sometimes God will subtract to multiply. He will prune so you can produce. And yeah, it hurts. Of course it hurts. You loved him. You trusted him. You believed in him. But that pain, it has purpose. That rejection, it has direction. You don't need their hand to climb. You don't need their voice to validate you. What you need now is you. Because real talk, some of us were leaning too hard on people, dependent on their encouragement, needing their support, waiting for their approval. And the moment they disappeared, we crumbled. But hear me, if their absence breaks you, then you gave them too much power. The goal now is not to prove them wrong. That's small. The goal is to grow so right, so strong, so deep in your identity that it doesn't matter who walks, because you're walking anyway. You don't rise by revenge, you rise by release. Let it go. Let them go. Stop carrying the weight of people who dropped you when you needed them most. They left, cool. That's the best thing they could have done. Now you know who's real. Now you know what you're made of. Now you're light enough to fly. Every time someone walked out, you thought it was a loss, but it was just a lesson, a revelation, a redirection. That betrayal, it taught you boundaries. That silence, it taught you self-worth. That abandonment, it taught you to show up for yourself. You're not broken, you're building. You're not alone, you're aligned. You're not behind, you're becoming. So when they don't clap, clap for yourself. When they don't believe, believe anyway. When they don't show up anyway. Because this rise, it's not about them. It's about the version of you that's been buried under approval, under fear, under rejection, coming to life. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them scroll right past your progress. Just keep rising, because when you finally walk into the fullness of who you are, they won't recognize you. And that's exactly the point. Pain is not your enemy. I know that sounds crazy, especially when you're still bleeding, especially when you wake up and it still hurts, when you're doing everything right, but it feels like everything is still going wrong. When the people you gave everything to walked away, when the doors keep closing, when your heart is heavy and your soul is tired. I know I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to pray and not get the answer you wanted, to give your all and still come up short, to feel forgotten, overlooked, left out. But listen to me. Don't run from that pain. Use it. That pain is trying to teach you something. That pain is power in disguise. You just ain't learned how to harness it yet. You keep trying to numb it, hide it, bury it, but what you don't realize is the pain is the fuel. It's the fire. It's the very thing that's going to push you when motivation dries up. It's going to wake you up when the alarm clock can't. It's going to keep you grinding when the applause fades and the crowd disappears. Pain has purpose, but only if you let it. You got to stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. You weren't being destroyed, you were being developed. Every sleepless night, every tear you cried, every moment of silence, every battle you fought in private when no one was watching, that was your training. That was your breaking, yeah, but it was also your building. You want to be great, but you don't want to hurt. You want to go high up, but you don't want the pressure. You want the breakthrough, but you're running from the very thing that breaks you open. The most dangerous version of you is the one who stopped seeing pain as an enemy and started using it as a tool. That version of you don't wait for easy days. They build through hard ones. That version of you don't need comfort. They chase growth. That version of you don't need a pat on the back. They got scars on their chest that remind them they've already survived worse. When they doubted you, use it. When they betrayed you, use it. When you lost what you thought you couldn't live without, use it. That fire you feel in your gut every time you remember what you went through, channel it. Don't waste your story wishing it didn't happen. Flip it. Use it to push you. Use it to discipline you. Use it to remind you what you survived and why you can't quit now. You think this is about proving people wrong? Nah. This is about proving yourself right. That deep down voice inside of you that says you're meant for more, that voice is real. And the pain, that's just the pressure required to unlock it. You're going to have to be okay being uncomfortable. You're going to have to get familiar with frustration, with failure, with fatigue, and still keep going. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because you refuse to let pain be the reason you stop. No, pain is going to be the reason you don't. Every champion you admire was built in pain. Every warrior, every legend, every story you love, that greatness was forged in moments just like the ones you're in right now. So don't waste yours. Stop praying for the storm to pass and start learning how to dance in the rain. Stop waiting for the fire to die out and start walking through it like it can't touch you. Because the same pain that tried to break you is the same pain that's about to make you unstoppable. You keep waiting on somebody to clap for you. You keep waiting on somebody to believe in you, to co-sign you, to say, yeah, they got it, they're special. But what if they never do? What if the people you thought would be in your corner are silent? What if your phone don't ring, your inbox stays empty, and the love you keep pouring out never comes back? What if nobody shows up? You show up anyway, because greatness was never about crowds. It was never about validation. It was never about who stood beside you. It was always about how you stood alone. You rise anyway. You grind anyway. You wake up and fight anyway. You get up when nobody's watching. You work when nobody believes. You push when nobody claps. Everybody wants to be great, but most people want it to come easy. They want the spotlight without the solitude. They want the victory without the valley. But the ones who really rise, the ones who change the game, they're the ones who learn how to rise without applause. They're the ones who stop waiting to be chosen and chose themselves. There's a moment in your life when you've got to stop playing small just because no one's cheering you on. You've got to stop shrinking because they don't see your worth. You've got to stop doubting your gift because it's not trending. You don't need a blue check next to your name to be valuable. You don't need a platform to have purpose. What you need is a decision to rise anyway, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when the vision looks crazy. You've got to believe so deeply in what's inside of you that nothing outside of you can shake it. That's what rising really means. It's not a feeling. It's not a mood. It's a mindset. It's a commitment to get up and keep going, even when you don't feel like it, even when the result says it's over. I get it. You're tired. You've been pushing. You've been trying. And it feels like nobody sees the effort. Nobody sees the sacrifice. But hear me. You weren't built for their approval. You were built for impact. And real impact rarely makes noise at first. Real impact grows in silence. It builds in the dark. It matures when nobody's looking. Don't confuse being unseen with being unsuccessful. Don't confuse being quiet with being stuck. Sometimes the quiet seasons are the most powerful. That's where character is formed. That's where discipline is born. That's where resilience gets tested. That's where you become unshakable. So stop measuring your rise by who claps. Stop measuring your word by who shows up. You don't need the world's confirmation to walk in your calling. If you've got breath in your lungs, if you've got fight in your spirit, then you've got everything you need to rise. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't need their permission. You don't need a crowd to get going. You just need to make a choice to rise, even when no one's watching, to grind, even when no one's listening, to believe, even when it looks impossible. Because at the end of the day, this rise, it's personal. It's not about showing the world who you are. It's about showing you who you are. And once you do that, once you show up for yourself consistently, faithfully, relentlessly, there's no force on this planet that can stop you. So rise anyway.